Now, the president's health care law is making people with insurance sick. Welcome, everyone. I'm Stuart Varney in for Neil Cavuto. This is your world. And a new poll raising fresh alarm bells for the president. Because it's not just the millions of people losing their health plans due to Obamacare who are upset. Nearly half of those people with job-based or private health insurance say their policies will be changing next year, mostly for the worse. And most of those people are blaming the president's healthcare law. They point to rising premiums and higher deductibles. What this all means for Democrats facing tough midterm elections, we'll cover that in a moment. But first, to FBN's Diane Macedo on the streets of New York with the reaction there. Diane.
Hi, Stuart. So we keep hearing about how the problems with healthcare.gov are only affecting a small part of the population. But this Associated Press GFK poll shows us that the 85% of Americans that do have healthcare coverage are largely unhappy with the law and blaming it for changes that are coming to their plans. 69% say that their premiums are going up. Another 59% say their co-payments or deductibles are going up. And while you might think that money is going toward better coverage, only 21% say their coverage is expanding. On the contrary, 14% say spousal coverage is being reduced or eliminated, and another 11% say their own plans are being eliminated. Now, whether or not these changes are due to the Affordable Care Act is unclear, but the poll shows us that 4 in 5 people believe that they are. Now, we caught up with a few people on the streets of New York City today, and here's what they had to say.
I will be paying more. Yeah, my premiums are going to go up.
I absolutely think it's due to Obamacare.
Me personally, no. I'm not seeing anything go up.
I think it's just due to the annual increases at this time.
I think it has to do with Obamacare.
Yes, mine is going up. It's 20%.
I haven't felt the impact yet, but
I'm waiting for it.
Now, more than 60% of the people responding to the poll said they do disapprove of the president's handling of health care, but still Democrats do have an edge over Republicans when it comes to which party they want to handle health care. That said, these issues mentioned in the poll have yet to kick in, and when they do, they will affect many more people than those website issues we keep hearing about, Stuart, which means this could be a major liability for Democrats come the election season, even if they do sort out all those website problems. Back to you.
We hear you, Diane. Thank you. Even before this poll came out, there were plenty of headlines suggesting Democrats are rattled by the troubled healthcare rollout and the impact it could have on next year's midterm elections. To former Democrat pollster Pat Goodell, who says they have good reason to be nervous. All right, Pat, things are bad, looking worse for next year.
A rolling disaster.
A rolling disaster is pretty extreme language. Well, do you think it's bad enough for the Democrats to lose control of the Senate?
They could on this. You wouldn't have thought so in October when the shutdown occurred, before Obamacare took effect, and the Republicans were shooting themselves in the foot. But yes, you can. The biggest challenge for the Republicans is what we just heard at the end of the report. The Democrats are still viewed about evenly with Republicans because of the Republican Party per se doesn't have what it's going to do, a program saying here's what we will do. That is the missing piece they need. But the Obamacare thing gets worse and worse. Perception is reality, and this reality is pretty grim, and expectations are.
Does all of that change if the website is fixed and works like Amazon, for example?
A website could work tomorrow. I mean, well, someday when it does, call me so I know, because we keep finding out more and more stuff. And of course, and if you haven't lost all your personal information. But look, you know, you see the information, what we see with the whole problem of the navigators came out today and what they're doing, all that stuff on the website. But here's the real problem. People lost insurance, are losing it, are not finding the insurance they want. The one lie of the year, of this, maybe of the decade. If you like your health insurance, you can keep it. If you like your doctor, you can keep it. That doesn't go away. That needs to be drilled over and over for the Republicans. The Democrats are in terror of this because prices are going up, costs are going up, and you saw the numbers.
Yeah, but that poll,
people know it's happening.
That's right. People in that poll, they got insurance.
Yes.
And they think this is what's going to happen to them, and this is affecting tens of millions of people. But hold on a second. I'm not sure the Democrats know the full extent of this. For example, read the New York Times. Front page on Sunday, the New York Times, the Bible of the Democrats, Obamacare not mentioned. I leaf through the entire A section. It's mentioned once. There is one story on Obamacare. That's it. Are they hiding their head in the sand, not facing up to the problem?
This is the ostrich issue. Or if we get in a room and only look at one another, then we can tell ourselves it's really not as bad as it is. The truth is, it's very bad. Let me tell you how bad it is. The Wall Street Journal poll, which came out last week, which showed that people who are uninsured, who ought to be the champions of Obamacare, because they're going to get coverage, and a lot of it will be subsidized. They've gone from 34% thinking it was bad in October in 1 month to 50%. The numbers of people thinking it was a bad idea have increased. This is affecting people because, as I said, perception is reality. It's like, it's like economics, it's like commercialism.
But it's awfully difficult to fight this rising tide of very, very negative news on Obamacare.
Unless you just simply ignore it like the New York Times, or you get up like Nancy Pelosi or make whatever statement she makes and say it's going to be a help.
All right, last one. If it was held today, if the election were held today, 2014, do the Democrats lose the Senate?
I think they would lose the Senate today.
Serious stuff. Pat Goodell, thank you very much indeed. Great. With more people seeing their health care costs rising, a new survey finds many are holding back on their spending this holiday season. To FBN's Elizabeth McDonald on the connection. Is there a connection, Liz, between less spending and higher costs for Obamacare?
Yeah, it appears that way. Here's what's going on. Good to be with you, Stuart. 4 in 10 consumers now say that they plan to spend less this holiday season versus last year, and just 1 out of 7 say they plan to spend more than last year. And what's striking about the findings of this poll of 1,000 adults, Stuart, is that this mirrors the same kind of results we saw in 2010 when the economy really was in a slump. And it comes at a time when these same respondents, Stuart, are telling the pollsters, we feel like our financial security is good, but you know what's going on behind the scenes is that our household income is flatlining, and we're feeling really not so great about our savings, Stuart.
So the connection is that there's far more part-time work, that wage levels, actual spending power, not going up. In fact, it's going down. And that's the connection between Obamacare, rising costs, and less spending this holiday season.
That's right. Part-time jobs pay less. There are now 27 million part-time jobs out there in the U.S. labor force. That's about 1/5 of the total, and that's above historical norms. And the thing here is 2/3 of the net job creation so far this year, Stuart, has been part-time jobs versus full-time jobs. And, I'll tell you something, 8 million people want full-time work, but they can't get it. The Federal Reserve Beige Book, meaning the reporting back from the business districts to the various Federal Reserve banks, Stuart, we continue to see in report after report companies reporting back to the Federal Reserve that there is concern on the part of businesses over health reform. You hear it coming out of Chicago, Kansas City, Dallas, Cleveland, and Richmond, Stuart. So we're going to be tracking this developing story as the reports come in. Sending it back to you, Stuart.
Thanks, Liz. There is a connection. You made it. Thank you very much.